Boeing says it will resume talks with striking workers tomorrow. It's been almost 2 weeks since they walked off the job, and the strike has halted production of the 737 MAX and other models. It's the latest woe to hit Boeing and Airbus customers. And if it's not that, it's problems with engines. IAG is the parent company. It's got BA, Iberia, Aer Lingus and others. There are risks to deliveries. New planes that are to be expected this year and next. Joining me is Luis Gallego, the chief executive of IAG within New York. The strike may not affect necessarily, but these delays for new aircraft are really screwing up your expansion and growth plans, aren't they, for routes?
In our case, we are not impacted because, as you say, the 737s are the aircraft that can have potential delays. The 787s that we are going to receive, they are still according to the plan, and we have flexibility with the 737s in the future. So for the time being, we are not affected.
But you are going to be affected by, for instance, supply chain issues, engines on the wing, Rolls-Royce, Pratt and so on.
Yes, we have the issue with the GTF engine, with the Pratt engine in Boeing, but we have leased aircraft in order to cover the lack of engines. So they are flying the program that they had scheduled. And in the case of the Trent engines, we needed to cancel 2 lines this year, this summer in British Airways, because, as you know, we need to inspect the engines, and sometimes we need to replace, and there is a lack of spare engines in the market.
If we look, were you very disappointed not to proceed with Air Europa? It had been going on for as long as I can remember. Competition questions. It would now, I mean, if that is right and you couldn't get a relatively small-ish deal through like Europa, then it does make difficulties for things like TAP Portugal, which is still to come, and further consolidation in Europe.
We tried to do the Air Europa operation because we thought was the best thing for the Madrid hub in order to have a stronger hub to compete with the hubs in the north of Europe. And that's the reason we started this operation in 2019. But the conditions that competition authorities asked were not possible for us. And in the interest of the shareholders, we decided to abandon the operation. And some people now, they are saying, you need to buy TAP because you didn't do the Air Europa operation, and what we are saying is no. M&A is not essential for us. We are delivering good results in the group. You know that we have announced that a dividend, an interim dividend. And M&A will do it if it makes sense for the group. And in the case of TAP, we need to see what the government, what are going to be the conditions from the government.
So what's your, besides obviously making money, what is your priority? Which of the airlines are you in the group are you going to grow most, do you think?
So this year the group is growing 7%. If we look at the different airlines, British Airways is growing around 7%, Iberia 14%, and Aer Lingus and Boeing, the growth this year is reduced. But I think we have an opportunity in the different markets where we operate, with British Airways in the North Atlantic, with Iberia also in the South Atlantic.
So yeah, on that point, sorry, just are you satisfied with the way you have the airlines all working together? And the analogy I want to think about is, if you take, for example, your competitor, particularly the Lufthansa Group, which essentially runs it like an iron fist across Swiss, Austrian, Lufthansa, Brussels, de facto one airline with different flavors. You're much more of a federation.
No, we have our model is different, and we always talk about the capital allocation model, and we determine where we allocate capital in function of the return that we are going to have. The good thing is our main markets are operating very well. So North Atlantic working well, South Atlantic also, and intra-European we are doing a good job with Vueling. We are deciding where to allocate the aircraft in function of how do we see the market and the possible evolution. For the time being, things are working well.
after the pandemic and everything that went before, what's your biggest challenge? What's your biggest challenge now?
I think after the pandemic, we were worried about the behavior of the customer. What we see is a very strong demand. We see that corporate traffic is coming back. Very strong also premium leisure traffic. We launched a transformation program in 2020 because we knew that we needed to be more efficient after the COVID, and it's working. And that's the reason we came back last year to the profitability that we had in the past, and we could repair also the balance sheet, and now the leverage after the first half was in 1.3 times, and that's what we wanted, to be in a position that allow us to continue with our strategy.
Grateful to see you, sir. I wish you a safe journey back to Europe. Thank you, sir.